That's why you see.
Oh my God!
In bull riding, every second can turn into a nightmare. There are falls that seem part of the game, and others that make the crowd scream, "Oh my God!" What you are about to see are the most brutal accidents in the PBR. 20 moments that left scars, broken bones, and chilling silences in the arena. Number 20, João Ricardo Vieira.
That's why I wanted to get.
The Brazilian João Ricardo Vieira is one of the most consistent names in the PBR, a rider with multiple world finals on his record. But his career has also had moments that left him physically marked and that paralyzed the crowd. In this accident, Vieira came out riding with his aggressive style. Body perfectly aligned, eyes fixed on the horizon. Everything seemed under control until, in the third second, the bull spun with unexpected violence, launching him forward. João was shot out like a bullet and landed on his collarbone. The blow was so hard that he lay motionless for an instant that felt eternal. The bull was still looking for him, and the bullfighters had to rush in with everything to distract it. The crowd fell into absolute silence until João raised his hand, hurt but conscious. He was taken to the hospital, where it was confirmed he had fractures and bruises. That day, the ovation wasn't for points. It was for seeing a man get up from a punishment that could have ended his career. Number 19, Justin McBride. Justin McBride, two-time world champion, is synonymous with glory in rodeo, but even he lived through his own brutal moment that no one forgets. In a ride that seemed textbook, McBride was in rhythm with the bull, anticipating every move. Suddenly, the animal executed such a violent sidespin that it threw him off. Justin fell badly, his shoulder hitting the ground, and his arm got caught in the rope. For endless seconds, he was dragged by the beast, his body bouncing uncontrollably against the dirt. The bullfighters ran to free him, but every jerk drew a groan from the crowd. They finally managed to release him, but McBride lay on the ground with his arm hanging unnaturally. The dislocation was obvious. Although he came back later, that accident showed that not even the greatest are out of danger, and that the arena can humble anyone in the blink of an eye. Number 18, Tate Pollmeier.
That's why you see.
Oh my gosh!
Young American Tate Pollmeier represented freshness and ambition, but a horrific accident placed him on this list. From the moment he came out of the chute, the bull was erratic, throwing unpredictable spins that had Pollmeier wobbling from the start. Barely halfway through the regulation time, the animal launched him forward. The fall was brutal. Tate hit his head on the ground, dazed immediately. The bull didn't stop and pushed him with its chest, dragging him several meters. The image was chilling. A young man dragged like a rag doll while the bullfighters risked their lives to free him. The crowd went silent, fearing the worst. Finally, Tate was taken out on a stretcher, conscious but with neck and shoulder injuries. Although he returned months later, that scene was etched as one of the most shocking "oh my God" moments of his career. Number 17, Agnaldo Cardozo. Brazilian Agnaldo Cardozo was always recognized for his commitment, but a bull sent him to the hospital in one of the most violent episodes in the PBR. From the start, the animal showed extreme aggression, high jumps and tight spins. Agnaldo tried to resist, but on a backward spin he lost position and was launched headfirst into the dirt. What came next froze the blood. The bull came back and struck him in the abdomen, lifting him a few inches off the ground. The crowd screamed in horror. The bullfighters quickly intervened, diverting the animal just when it seemed ready to hit him again. Agnaldo lay sprawled, with the air completely knocked out of his lungs. He was taken out on a stretcher with multiple broken ribs and internal bruising. Still, months later he returned, proving that a rider's spirit doesn't break as easily as bones. Number 16, Stetson Lawrence. American Stetson Lawrence has been one of the toughest names in the PBR. However, this time the bull punished him in savage fashion. Just out of the chute, the animal executed a series of violent spins that threw him backward. Stetson landed on his back, and before he could react, the bull stomped him with its hind legs. The blow landed directly on his side, leaving him writhing in pain. The bullfighters rushed in like lightning, pushing the bull away while the crowd watched in shock. Lawrence was carried out of the arena with grimaces of pain he couldn't hide. That day made it clear that even the strongest can fall, and that in this sport, it doesn't matter how much you prepare. There's always a bull ready to remind you that the beast is in charge. Number 15, Stetson Lawrence. Few riders appear twice on a list of brutal accidents, but Stetson Lawrence does so in his own right. In another encounter, his bravery led him to face a bull with a lethal reputation. During the ride, it seemed he had control, but in an instant the bull threw an unexpected spin. Stetson lost position and fell right in front of the animal. Instead of moving away, the bull stomped on his lower back, folding him like paper. The crowd erupted in a collective scream. Lawrence was immediately taken out by paramedics with severe pain and injuries that kept him out of competition for weeks. His name was marked not only by his talent, but also by surviving two of the fiercest punishments in the PBR. Number 14, Andrew Alvidrez.
Mike's motive brought the... Oh!
American Young Promise. Andrew Alvidrez starred in one of the cruelest moments on this list. As soon as the gate opened, the bull leaped so high it threw him off balance in the first second. Andrew held on as long as he could but ended up launched forward. The fall was hard, headfirst into the dirt. The helmet absorbed part of the impact, but Andrew was disoriented, unable to get up. The worst came after. The bull turned and struck him on the shoulder with its head, making him roll across the ground. The bullfighters rushed to distract the animal while the medics attended to the young rider. The crowd held its breath until Andrew raised his hand, confirming he was conscious. It was one of those cases that show how close tragedy is in every second of a ride. Number 13, Denner Barbosa. Brazilian Denner Barbosa, one of the most consistent talents in the PBR, suffered a brutal accident still talked about today. During a ride that seemed under control, the bull threw a tight spin that catapulted him to the ground. Denner landed on his arm and his shoulder dislocated instantly. The scream of pain was so loud it could be heard even over the noise of the crowd. Unable to move, he lay there while the bull kept spinning in circles. The bullfighters intervened, pulling him out of Hoof's reach. The crowd stood and applauded as he was carried out on a stretcher, aware they had witnessed one of the season's most painful moments. Although Barbosa returned after recovery, that injury reminded him how quickly a bull can turn the arena into a field of pain. Number 12, Alexandro Cardozo. Venezuelan. Alexandro Cardozo also lived a nightmare moment that earned him a place on the list. During a competition, the bull came out with a strange pattern of movements, and Alexandro tried to adapt, lasting several seconds. But on one jump, the animal's violent whip threw him straight to the ground. The impact was devastating. He landed on his back and hit his head on the dirt. For a few seconds, he was unconscious. The crowd screamed, some praying out loud while medics rushed in. Finally, Alexandro opened his eyes and raised his hand, drawing deafening applause. He was taken to the hospital to rule out internal injuries, but that day it became clear that in bull riding, no one is safe from an accident that changes everything in an instant. Number 11, Josh Tucker.
23 years old.
Josh Tucker, a rider respected for his courage, lived one of the tensest moments in the PBR. As soon as the ride began, the bull showed a strange pattern, violent spins combined with unexpected jumps. Josh tried to keep his composure, but with a sudden move, he was thrown off the mount. The fall was disastrous, face first into the dirt, his shoulder taking all the weight. To make matters worse, the bull stomped on his back as it passed. The crowd let out a horrified scream. The bullfighters rushed into the rescue, managing to pull the animal away. Tucker, in obvious pain, tried to stand but had to be helped. He was carried out to applause, while medics confirmed fractures and muscle injuries. That day remained in memory as another of those moments where the word brutal doesn't even suffice. From João Ricardo Vieira to Josh Tucker, the first 10 cases on this list remind us how extreme rodeo can be. Champions, rising stars, and veterans. None escape the moment when the beast decides that control is not in your hands. Number 10, Keith Rockemore. American rider Keith Rockemore was the protagonist of an accident that still shakes fans. During the ride, he seemed to have control in the first seconds, adjusting his body and free arm well. However, an explosive spin from the bull launched him straight into the metal fence. The blow was so brutal that his helmet bounced against the structure, ripping a scream of horror from the crowd. The impact left him dazed, and before he could get up, the bull came back and stomped on his side. The bullfighters intervened immediately, distracting the beast while the paramedics came in to check on Rockemore. He was taken out on a stretcher with visible signs of pain. This episode showed that in bull riding, even the fence that separates the crowd can become part of the punishment. Number 9, Gage Gay. Young Gage Gay was one of Rodeo's great prospects when he lived his worst nightmare. The bull came out with an unpredictable move, throwing him forward in barely 2 seconds. Gay fell right in front of the animal, and what followed was a sequence of terror. The bull pushed him with its head and dragged him several meters, rolling him around like a rag doll. The crowd screamed non-stop, and the bullfighters threw themselves in to protect him, one of them taking a hit in the process. When they finally managed to free Gage, he lay on the ground, gasping for breath and showing pain all over his body. He was taken immediately to the hospital, where multiple fractures and bruises were confirmed. Although he returned months later, this moment made it clear that the rise of a young talent can be stopped cold with a single mistake. Number 8. Pistol Robinson. Pistol Robinson had already proven himself to be a brave competitor, but his accident made him part of some of the hardest images in rodeo. As soon as the ride began, the bull showed overwhelming strength. Robinson resisted the first spins, but on a forward jump, he lost position and was thrown off the mount. He landed on his back, and at that moment, the bull rammed him with its chest, slamming him into the dirt with a crash that froze the crowd's blood. Robinson lay motionless for several seconds, and the tension was unbearable. When he finally moved an arm, the crowd erupted in applause of relief. The doctors confirmed he had suffered a concussion and internal bruises. It was one of those moments that reminded everyone that in rodeo there are no small accidents. Every fall can be devastating. Number 7. Billy Robinson. Veteran Billy Robinson also suffered an accident that placed him on this list. During a competition, the bull violently threw him to the ground after just a few seconds of riding. Billy tried to get up, but the animal rammed him with its horns and dragged him several meters, rolling him across the dirt. The crowd screamed in horror, while the bullfighters tried to draw the bull to the other side of the arena. Finally, Billy managed to stand with help, but the damage was done. Several broken ribs and severe bruising. The ovation he received as he left was a mix of respect and relief, since everyone knew he had survived an accident that could have been fatal. Number 6. Guilherme Marchi. Brazilian Guilherme Marchi, world champion and PBR legend, lived through one of the most terrifying moments of his career. During a ride, he seemed in perfect control, following the bull's rhythm with mastery. But in an unexpected spin, the animal launched him into the air. Marchi landed headfirst into the dirt, and the impact was so strong that he lay motionless for several seconds. The paramedics rushed to his side while the crowd watched in absolute silence. Although he recovered, the accident made it clear that even a champion with decades of experience can be 1 second away from an irreversible injury. That day, Marchi's figure grew even more, not because of success, but for showing the strength needed to come back after such a devastating blow. Number 5. Cody Teal. American Cody Teal was another protagonist of a brutal accident. The bull he drew was known for being unpredictable, and from the first jump, it gave him trouble. Cody resisted bravely, but in a lateral move, he was thrown from the mount. The fall was violent, and before he could get up, the bull stomped with all its weight on his back. The crowd screamed in unison, while Teal lay on the ground writhing in pain. The bullfighters intervened to drive the animal away, and the doctors immobilized him immediately. Later, it was confirmed that he had suffered fractures in his back. Although he returned to competition after a long rehabilitation, that accident is still remembered as one of the most brutal of his career. Number 4. Marco Eguchi. Brazilian Marco Eguchi is a technical and talented rider, but not even his experience spared him from a horrifying accident. This time, the bull came out with a massive move that unseated him immediately. Eguchi lost his vertical and went flying forward. The impact against the dirt was hard, and the bull immediately rammed him with its chest, lifting him off the ground. The crowd screamed in horror, while Eguchi lay motionless for several seconds. The medics rushed to assist him, and although he managed to stand with help, the injuries were serious, bruises to the head and torso, plus a concussion. This accident was recorded as one of the most impactful of his career, reminding everyone that in the arena there is no margin for error. Number 3. Brendan Clark. Australian Brendan Clark also suffered an accident that shook the rodeo world. During a ride, he resisted the bull's first spins with determination, but a violent jump catapulted him forward. Clark landed headfirst into the ground, and the impact left him unconscious instantly. The crowd held its breath as the bullfighters rushed to shield him from the bull. The medics entered and confirmed he was unconscious, which only heightened the tension. He was taken immediately to the hospital, where it was later confirmed he had suffered a severe concussion. Although he returned to compete, that accident marked him forever and became a warning of how dangerous this sport can be. Number 2. Kasey Hayes. American rider Kasey Hayes lived through an accident that left him on the edge of tragedy. During the ride, he seemed to have everything under control until the bull launched an unexpected spin. Hayes lost balance and was thrown, landing on his back in the dirt. What came after was horrifying. The bull stomped on his chest, causing a serious injury to his ribs and lungs. The crowd screamed while the bullfighters tried to drive the animal away. Kasey was taken out on a stretcher with an indescribable expression of pain on his face. He spent weeks recovering before competing again, and that accident was remembered by fans as one of the most brutal falls in the PBR. Number 1. Frank Newsom. Legendary bullfighter Frank Newsom wasn't a rider, but he risked his life so many times to protect others that he ended up the protagonist of his own brutal accident. During a competition, a bull threw off a rider, and Newsom ran to step in. The animal rammed him with full force, launching him several meters through the air. The crowd fell silent, watching the brave protector's body slam into the dirt. Despite his injuries, Newsom tried to stand, showing the same courage he always displayed in his career. His accident not only put him on this list, but turned him into a legend, reminding everyone that bullfighters also pay a very high price for being in the arena. 20 names, 20 accidents that defined how brutal bull riding can be. From João Ricardo Vieira to Frank Newsom, each of these cases showed the fragility of the human body against the fury of a beast weighing nearly a ton. There were fractures, concussions, draggings, and blows that could have ended careers or even lives. What unites all these moments is not just the violence, but the bravery of the protagonists. Riders who returned to compete after serious injuries, and bullfighters who risked everything to save others. The PBR is full of glory, but also of scenes that make you scream, "Oh my God!" And these 20 accidents will forever remain as proof that the line between life and tragedy in the arena is as thin as a single second of wrong movement.